What's going on, freedom fighters? Welcome back to another broadcast of Break the Chains Media. I'm your host, Corey, and today is August 4th, 2021. Thanks for checking back. And today I wanted to kind of touch on a little bit more personal subject, something that happened back on June 21st. My very good friend, fellow activist, We Are Change Colorado member, Johnny Hurley, was tragically killed by Arvada PD while Johnny, was stopping an active shooter. Johnny shot and killed an active shooter on June 21st in Old Town Arvada Square after the active shooter shot and killed a local responding police officer, Gordon Beasley. And it's been a very tough time for family and friends and the community as a whole. But I wanted to give an update to you guys. I haven't really, it's just been tough to try to make a video or make a presentation to try to honor Johnny and try to get this out and tell everyone what really happened. I know other outlets have already made videos about it, but this is my turn. This is my story. If you first time checking out Break the Chains Media, please hit the subscribe button. Check me out on other media platforms. I've got a Telegram, t.me/breakthechainsmedia, where we have conversations. But going right into it, Johnny Hurley was a legend. Johnny Hurley was an activist. He was an anarchist. He was very anti-government, anti-establishment, but very loving, very friendly. Always wanted to have the best kind of conversations. Challenged you to think for yourself, to understand that human rights, your freedoms, your inalienable rights are paramount to your survival, and he lived that every day. And he fed the homeless. We did many different actions where we back years ago we actually did an action with Newt Gingrich at the cell, where we all shouted and hollered and called him a war criminal. And we went to a book signing with Al Gore, where we all bought Al Gore's global climate change book, and we had Al Gore sign it. But as we got up there, we called Al Gore out on his lies and his hypocrisy and his it's just, Johnny was a really good guy, and we had a lot of fun times together. This is the Telegram page that is dedicated to Johnny Hurley. But I just wanted to talk about Johnny and kind of give an update on what's happening with Johnny's story, and the fact that the Arvada Police and the DA and certain people involved in the city are not disclosing information that should be publicly transparent. They said it was going to be transparent, and it is no longer. They're kind of keeping it hush hush, and we want answers, because there was one article or one report of the police claiming that the police shot him, and they had admission. However, we have not seen the video. We have not seen the footage, and the police are actually saying that Johnny showed up in this scene. That's the shooter there. Johnny showed up behind this wall right here, and he shot the gunman. But the police are saying that Johnny picked up the shooter's AR-15, which would not make sense. And Johnny had his own concealed carry, he had his own sidearm, and he took him out with his own weapon. And for Johnny to move from his position to another position to pick up the firearm, to then go back to where he was claimed to have been shot, it just does not make sense, folks. And we're demanding answers. We're persisting with emails, with public action, peacefully demanding answers. And I had recently sat down with one of our friends, PH. Him and I are actually going to be working on a feature-length film dedicated to Johnny and telling his story. So with this kind of information that's going on about police accountability and transparency in general, like we need to make this more publicly aware, and we need to keep the fire under their toes, so to speak. You know what I mean? But with that being said, we're going to jump to an interview with writer, producer, and artist PH, where I discuss and we talk about our direction and our goals for this feature-length film dedicated to Johnny Hurley. All right, so I'm sitting here with PH. He is an artist, a writer, producer for Heartmore Entertainment. Wanted to kind of get a little bit more information about you, get to know you a little bit, let the people know who you are, where you come from, and what your goals are with our friend Johnny Hurley and the story with Old Town Arvada.
Yeah, first of all, I want to say my condolences to everyone, friends and family. It's one of the most heartbreaking stories you could ever imagine, and there's so many unanswered questions that we need to advocate the answers to right now.
Yeah.
Dramatically. I met Johnny randomly. He's one of the first people I met. I'm new into Arvada. Just bought a house coming from Vancouver. I work in the movie industry, like you were saying. I'm an artist, writer, producer. Screenwriting happens to be one of my specialties. I'm an award-winning screenwriter. My concept of 1% actually got me nominated for Screenwriter of the Year out of a couple semi-popular film festivals.
Nice.
But it got me noticed within the industry through screenwriting.
Very
so I have
cool.
a lot of executives interested in my work, just personally. So it happens to be the 1%. It's about two hip-hop artists living the hustle and grind. One day they pulled a wrong job, which ties them into an assassination plot of a billionaire heiress. So like the detective /
And what was that called?
The 1%.
1%.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah. So it's really focused on what happens in high culture and the people that have a lot at their disposal. And that's where I ended up finding myself, because the 1% is based off my life.
Okay.
Like the lead character is myself.
Sure.
As myself.
All right. Very cool.
Which I'm very blessed enough to be tied into West Coast hip hop and a lot of other legends along my journey as an independent. So I've seen how the power of wisdom and advice can transcend a community. And this is where Johnny and I, when we talked about legitimately vibing over the word zeitgeist. I went to the bar just to go screenwrite and just get myself back into a little groove post-COVID. And he just started a conversation with me. And that was the beauty of it. And it was just so organic and natural. And
Yeah,
back and
that's the
forth.
kind of guy Johnny is. You know, he'll just start conversating with someone about anything and just kind of pick your brain apart. That's great. So that's how you got to know Johnny.
That's how I met him. And then one
Very
time,
cool.
but we had a solid 10 to 15 minute conversation. And it all really just derived from him trying to close out his tab, and then me asking me some questions, and then me dropping the word zeitgeist.
Really?
Yeah.
That's cool, man.
Yeah.
That's very cool. No, that's actually one of the reasons a long time ago, Johnny would be one of the guys that I knew would handing out that movie Zeitgeist, that a decade, 15 years old video, right?
Yeah.
But so in that respect, after you found out what happened in Old Town, after you found out that it was Johnny, what drove you to kind of make the kind of video that film that you're talking about?
So, the project that we're looking at is we're looking at a narrative feature and with a theatrical release.
Okay.
And that's one thing about it. I have a huge connection to the industry and potential of pre-release. So with the story and everything that's been happening, I dropped a joke during the conversation, I wanted to play him in a movie just because of his personality. And Johnny, you're like, yo, I could age up, right?
Yeah, no, you kind of
he looks like he's 30.
Even with the glasses, you definitely just put a baseball cap on. You look like the guy. You look like Johnny.
Just a model-esque.
Yeah, just a little model-esque, right? A little model-esque. That's cool, though. No, honestly, and that's just that natural conversation that Johnny kind of has, and
and the energy and the conversation we had really just it fell to the wayside. But I live so close enough down to Old Town. I heard the story. I was about to walk down to go screenwrite when all the news came out, and then my curiosity of what's happening in this town that I just moved into reignited. As the media started filtering out, my recollection of that meeting just started getting stronger and stronger and stronger. And then when I went to the memorial with my drum, because ironically, there's so many similarities about the group that Johnny hung out with, and then my training and my background in general, that there was just a cohesiveness and understanding.
Well, and that's how I ended up running into you. After that moment, we met at the bar, started conversating, and here we are today.
Yeah.
So you and I have been working on, I guess you could just say like a rough script, a loose kind of a synopsis of the story. But as far as we're still working on the narrative.
Yeah, because like I said, the biggest thing is information still being released, and there's the key moment of the narrative that we have no question about, and that's where transparency of the police officers and the police chief it's been propaganded, and they're taking the legal safety issue and not about being true to the community.
Well, that's what it comes down to is we're here trying to make the story correct, trying to give Johnny and Officer Hurley in the best justice we can.
Yeah.
And the Arvada PD, the DA, the mayor, various governmental sources are kind of keeping it quiet. And I know you and myself and a couple other people from We Are Change Colorado were actually writing emails and trying to basically ask them, demanding more information. What's going on?
It's upsetting that it's gotten to this point, and this is where we have to be as civilians, understand that we hire these politicians and these people to represent us.
Exactly.
Without that, they usually get lost and their entitlements get convoluted on understanding their power. So when the police chief said he was going to issue complete transparency of what was happening, now the fact that we're a month and a half, 2 months in, and they have not released what happened after the gunman passed the threshold.
Yeah.
They just cut the video there, right?
Yep.
We know he walked there. We see Johnny in position, and that's really it. We have all the evidence afterwards, but they have not even released a police report of their understanding of the evidence gathering.
Yeah.
And within a month and a half, they're automatically playing the legal safety route.
Exactly. And
Sorry
sorry to cut you off, but I mean, no, but the legal actions, and there's certain things they can say, there's certain things they can't say, and especially with respect to the family, and I don't know what kind of settlements they might have with them. We don't know.
Yeah, so the biggest thing of why they haven't released the information yet, and I'll say this, don't take this legal advice or professional legal advice.
Mm-hmm.
I'd say is there's a Providence case of wrongful death suit, and because of this, the police want to hold, and the lawyers of the police actually want to hold on to this information as tight as possible because it's actually the key evidence of the information.
Right.
And that's the really issue why they haven't released it. But then again, because there was this communication of transparency to the public, because this happened publicly, a civilian interrupted a deranged gunman. And
we have a right to know.
We have the right to know.
We have a right to know.
In a timely matter, and not 6 months ahead, a year ahead. No, legitimately, we had a right to know a couple weeks, and they had the right to release information. Now that we're over that threshold,
yeah. It shook a family, it shook a community, it shook friends, it shook everybody, because Johnny was a very vibrant part of friends, community, everybody involved. Yeah. And it's really sad to see this kind of fall to the wayside. And my personal opinion is that it's going to string along for a couple more months, and then one headline in the back of the newspaper or the back of the news articles, they're just going to say, "Oh, by the way, this is what happened about that guy a long time ago." And we don't want that. We want to make sure Johnny's actions are heard, and the position that he had and the values that he stood for is resonates loudly.
Yeah. Yeah. And when Johnny and I met, him and I talked about being a hero in those key moments, it takes a really rare breed. And you hear a lot of the people talking about that witnessed the event, a lot of people talking about it. Johnny was the only person that ran to do something about it.
Straight in. And
there's few and far people. As a person that's been in situations like that too, you really don't see much reward from that at all. You see more grief than you do see thanks.
So this is kind of where your passion comes from to make this feature length.
Yeah.
So
I'm in position to make this feature length.
Yeah.
That's where for me that's part of it. And also just I'm a man of my word. So for me this is accountability. And that's where accountability, I think, is the best way to explain it from my influence. I made a joke to a guy that I respected for reasons when I saw him, and I said that I do it.
Yeah.
I'm a man of my word.
Now you're gonna do it. You have the opportunity.
I'm a man of my word. MOW, movie of the week. Take it any way you want.
Yeah.
But that's one thing about the rare breed of Johnny, and this is where Johnny is a hero, is now a national hero. We need to emphasize and give him the credibility that he deserves.
Yep.
And that's where this movie, 100%, there is such a depth to it.
Yeah, there
Just
really
with
is.
him alone, that it needs to be told.
It does.
It needs to be told. It needs to be told within respect.
Yeah.
And that's even talking about casting.
Yeah, just everything about this is it screams the right motive, the right passion towards this video, towards this film production.
Yeah.
Is there any sites or any way people can get a hold of you if people want to stay in touch with you? Do you have an Instagram or anything like that?
So if anybody wants to get a hold of me, feel free to look at me at Heartmore Entertainment. You can find that in Instagram or Twitter, or follow me at Channel PH, CHANNELPH, that's my personal Instagram or my tag that I've had it since I was for 20 years almost.
Yeah, great.
Yeah, and check that out. YouTube, if you want to see some of my past work. This is before I started focusing solely on screenwriting and then taking my work to the next level, and that's where I am now at.
Great.
So it's just like, it's going to be a huge adventure. So
It really is.
Tag along, guys.
I'm excited for it. We're working together. We're gonna make this work out, and everything just drives the narrative. And we're gonna push for accountability, push for transparency with the local officials, and we're gonna make this. We're gonna make this film. We're gonna make this in honor of our good friend Johnny Hurley. I appreciate you hanging out with us for right now.
Thank you, brother.
And we'll definitely stay in touch soon, and we'll do more later.
Sounds good, fam.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Well, there you have it, folks. Another great person that's involved with Johnny and his story, and we're going to do our best to honor him in the best way we can. And that being said, Johnny was a really good friend. Johnny taught me a lot. Johnny showed me a lot. I love Johnny. Johnny is a staple in the We Are Change community, We Are Change Colorado community. And I'll never forget everything he's represented and he's stood for. And I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you guys learned a little bit from this video. If you haven't yet, hit the subscribe button. I'm going to be posting out some more videos about current events and stuff like that. This one is a little bit more personal, a little bit more close to home, a little bit more solemn. But it needed to be done, and I really appreciate you guys checking back. Until then, folks, we always have to continue our fight for freedom. Keep fighting the good fight, folks.